Hello, I'm Scott DuPont with another episode of Finance Your Movie, sharing tips and strategies to help you fund your independent feature, documentary, short film, or web series. Our mission is to empower you to get your money to tell your story. Okay, I'm here with Valensky Sylvain, a prolific award-winning actor, producer, sometimes casting director, with over 50 acting credits, over 20 producer credits, and the founder of Dark L Films. V, how are you?
Beautiful day in the neighborhood, Scott. Beautiful day.
Good to see you. Hey, I want to start real quick. I did not know this about you. You were born in Haiti, and then you came over and you started your acting career up in New York?
That is correct. I came over, I was born in Haiti. We left at 2, and then I was raised in New York, and I started acting around the age of 5 in
Wow.
New York. I've done theater all my life. Theater is my love and my passion, but film is where the money is at. So that's what
Yeah.
I ended up. But theater, if theater can pay me as well as film could, I'd be doing that all the time.
And you're not alone. Every actor in the world says that same thing. And then how did you make it down to Central Florida, which was booming, of course, with the Universal Studios, Disney, MGM, Max?
My mom decided it was too cold, and she decided to, because she's from the theater arts also. So we had family in Florida already, and so she was like, okay, we need to make a move. My dad decided to stay in New York, but then she moved us down here, and I started high school down here. So that was an interesting move from Brooklyn, New York to to me, small town of Orlando, Florida, because it's hustling and bustling, not New York. But the change, I guess, was serendipitous because I got into the acting, the theater community here in Orlando, and finished. I went to Edgewater High School and then UCF and then FSU. So life took me where it needed to take me.
Great community there too, as well. So like a lot of the successful guests we've had on our show, you started out producing and acting in your own shorts. And I know you're the master, literally, of keeping the budgets really, really low and being frugal, not wasting a lot of money. But on some of your first shorts, how did you get the little bit of money that you needed to actually make the films?
It was out of my pockets and the pockets of the other producers that came on board. It's funny, but my first ever project that I produced, because I was acting for a while, first project I produced was a feature film with Philip Bach.
I did not know that.
Uncle to George. It was called Untitled.
I was in that.
Yes, you were. That was my first ever film I produced.
How did I not know that? Were you a co-producer? Or?
Yes, I was the one that got the crew together because Phil came to me and was like, hey, I want to produce, I have this film. And then I brought in Marco and I brought in Karen, Marco DeGeorge, Karen Trudeau, and they helped us put the funding together and we did the whole film.
Wow, small world. And I remember it was a black and white film.
That is correct.
It was a really, really cool film. You guys did a great job with that.
Yeah. So Marco and I acted in it. Phil directed it. I helped cast the rest of that was my first casting gig too. So basically all of that we put together, and that was my first ever producing credit and or experience producing.
Wow.
I networked it. I knew Marco and I knew Karen, and then I knew they were always looking for projects. And then thank goodness Marco had a little bit of funds extra to put together, and Karen had some funds, and then that's how we made the film.
Wow. And what a beautiful film it was. I still have a really cool picture that was taken on set of myself and Tom Link down at the train station.
It was experience I never had to do again because the budget was very minuscule and it was a feature, and we shot it. Remember, we only shot it on the weekends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
you made a beautiful film. I mean, you got it out there.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. And Philip now is in, LA directing, doing, animated features. He helped direct Transformers, the Netflix animated show that's on Netflix right now. He
Yeah,
directed.
I ran into Phil at LA Film School a couple years ago. So yeah, he's still got the same passion.
Yes, it's a beautiful thing.
So moving ahead, you kept doing these shorts to kind of build out your resume, work your craft, and were you mostly self-funding those, or did you ever get to a point where you reached out and said, "Hey, I need a little bit of money," and
Usually the money came from whenever people brought the shorts to me, because not all the shorts that Frank Tobin wrote. Originally, Frank Tobin wrote all our shorts. I don't know if you remember Frank from
yeah,
Viva days. So when Frank came to me and was like, "Hey, I have these short," and he's a prolific writer, so we were a lot of it was out of my pocket or other people that came on board to help to help co-produce, like Jeremy Wood, who's my partner with Dark Elf Films. Eventually, we just ended up co-founding together. He brought money to the table. Sometimes the other directors, whoever would be directing, brought some cash to the table, but it was always within our little crew, and we self-funded it that way.
okay,
I guess at the time, people knew our reputation, so they were willing to work on our projects for free and willing to bring whatever they could to the table, as long as we fed them and made sure we paid for all the stuff that, like any permits that needed or things of that nature. We fed them and made sure we had a great set, but everybody came on board and helped out.
yeah, and there's a lot of value to that, especially the first few years of your career, or if you just want to add another IMDb credit as an actor or producer to do that. So I applaud this. It's almost like a tribe, this family
Yes,
that you built around Dark Elf Films that
yes,
is
sir.
still going strong to this day. Now I want to jump ahead to the Bailey case or the Breaking Point. Some of your features you did years later.
Yes.
Um, how you and or your partners got a little bit of that money together to make those happen.
For Bailey case, that was basically all Kelly Weaver. So he came to me and was like, "Yo, I have this thing that I want to do, and I have somebody that's going to come in and help fund it." So he had somebody already with money to bring to the table. So all I had to do was help cast it and put the crew together and things of that nature. As for Breaking Point, what we did with Breaking Point was we shot the short film first. We self-funded, James and I self-funded the short film, the proof of concept for Breaking Point. And then once we had that short, we went to different investors or people with liquidity and helped us put together the budget for Breaking Point, the feature. So I'm not allowed to really say what the amount was, but it was beneath 10,000. It was under
Okay.
10,000 for the feature for Breaking Point. So once we had the short and we showed them that what the plan was and what we can do, and they already knew my reputation, they knew James Hunter's reputation, and we already had certain feelers out for people that had some liquidity. And so all we did was we brought them in, we had meetings with them, and then they brought money to the table for us. And that's
And
how.
how long was the short film that you used to show these investors?
About under 7 minutes.
Okay. So that's a really smart move. In fact, I was fortunate enough to talk to Billy Bob Thornton last year, and I
That's all.
went up to him. He was coming out of his trailer. We were working on Goliath, and I said, "You know, you are kind of like my role model, my hero, because we use that same model that you used for Sling Blade. You know, he used that short to then get Sling Blade made as a feature, which blew up. So that concept that you did to take the short to
Mm-hmm.
show investors to get the money, I think is very, very powerful, especially these days.
Correct, correct.
I mean, there's no
Because
reason not to go do it short.
yes, they're all about what is your. It's a visual medium. Almost everybody is a visual medium, and at the same time, that short can help build up buzz for what you're trying to do. And so they see the short, they see the concept, and then they can come back and be like, "Hey, these guys, can do something with a little bit more money, what can they do more? You know, and it's basically selling yourself. It's a belief in yourself and selling yourself and your team so that you can go and be like, this is what we can do. Help us make more.
Yeah, yeah. And then most recently, you just finished another feature called Call Time.
That is correct.
Tell me a little bit about that and how that all came together.
That's James Hunter's first horror film. So originally last year, even before all of this pandemic stuff, we were going to do a feature, a horror film called Carrollton. But Carrollton, the budget for that, because the writer brought it to us and said, hey, I can raise X amount. We told her what the amount was in order to do it. And then it's up to her to go and raise it. And so she wasn't able to raise it at the time. And then this other script called Call Time fell in our lap. The writer had met up with James through another intermediary or whatever. And then James had a crew, Derek, his directing partner, Derek, already. They're from Philly and New York area. So they had a crew really looking to do another project because they had just finished a couple of web series. And so the crew had some budget already aligned. So then James, all he had to do was go find the extra budget from his lawyers. Now, what happened was we had done another short called J for Justice. And in that short, we met a couple of lawyers there during that proceeding because of the location that we shot in and things of that nature. Those lawyers saw what we were doing for J for Justice, and then through our continuing conversation, decided to come on board to help James with Call Time.
Were these Orlando-based lawyers?
Yes, yes. All of them are Orlando-based. And then they saw how the process was going, and they enjoyed, they saw where the money was going, how frugal we were being with the money, and how we actually know what we're doing. And then they loved the experience of trying to put a film together. So then they decided to get together with James to make a company to do other features. And so now we have Carrollton back in the picture with a bigger budget.
Oh, awesome. So that'll be another film for you.
That's correct.
Congratulations. So that's a great segue, because I was going to ask you about this anyway, but it seems to be one of the successful things, and several of these stories kind of prove that you're kind of such a great networker. How important would you say that is for film producers looking to put projects together?
It's everything. It's everything. Because you never know. I'll give you an example. There was at Full Sail, I did a short film, and I haven't done that many Full Sail short films. So I did a short film of Full Sail. 4 years later, one of the crew that worked on that short film still remembered me and called me to be on a Netflix show in North Carolina. And so,
wow. In front of the camera.
In front of the camera. I was in front of the camera for the Full Sail, and then they had me in front of the camera for the Netflix show, which I can't discuss. But at that Netflix show, I made a connection there that ended up being one of the backers for my other films coming up, my other TV series that I have pushing, because they have a connection to Netflix. So that TV show is going to be pitched to Netflix through that connection.
Wow. There you have it.
And then this is a person that I hadn't talked to in 4 years. I didn't even know they remembered me. And they were like, hey, I followed you on social media. I know you're still doing stuff. I love your work ethic. I loved working with you at this. Boom, I have this opportunity. Are you free? Can you fly up?
Wow. Very cool. You remember Rick Pamplin, right?
Yes, I do. I worked a lot with Rick Pamplin back then.
He has a great quote that I heard him say once, was that you don't necessarily decide the order when your films are made. Your investors decide the order when your films are made.
Correct.
So it seems to be the case. You've got all these great tentacles and this networking, your reputation of Dark Elf Films, and magically things come together. And it was such an honor to work with you several times, and I totally forgot about Untitled. That's kind of coming full circle. So,
A lot of fun, a lot of fun.
any other advice you would give to young filmmakers or filmmakers that are kind of struggling to get their first or second feature funded or their first documentary funded?
I would say work on as many projects as you can, whether they're paid or not, because it's about building that network. And when you're on set, the attitude, responsibility, reliability, attitude, and the relationships that you build is big. And so it's one of the things that Art Smith, if you remember who Art Smith
I
was,
know Art very well.
so Art was always telling me that if you're responsible on set and you're reliable on set and you have a great attitude and you have respect, then people will continue working with you. So, and whether I'm behind the scenes or in front of the scenes, you never know who's going to hit it big. Because the PA that you may have in this short film, like 4 years ago, may end up turning out to be a director or producer or UPM on a bigger project down the line. And they, if they remember who was great to work with and who was a pain to work with on set, and they will always be like, hey, I like this person. They would rather work with people that they're comfortable working with or people that will, help to push the project further instead of the people that were a pain in the butts or, were entitled and thought that they, just because they went to school or just because they did this, that they're entitled to certain things. Make sense?
Totally makes sense. And I mean, I can tell you so many stories here where I'm working on set and somebody will come up to me and say, "Hi, Scott. I don't know if you remember me, but I worked on one of your films in Florida 15 years ago, and it was a connection from University of Central Florida Film School or Full Sail Film School." I mean, just it's really fascinating. And one of the guys that do you remember a film called The Bros that I did years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Dennis Scott, Vanilla
Yeah.
Ice, Carrot Top. What was interesting, a guy that I think I met him on this set. He was a featured background, and it was just a crazy day. We went something like 18 hours. I mean, it was insane to the point where I was scrambling as a producer. I was breaking out cots for some of the people that showed up 17 hours earlier, and they were getting tired. So he said, listen, just go to sleep, go to sleep. One of the guys I gave a cot, I told him to go to sleep, was Hans Herky. Remember him?
No, not really.
Anyway, he is a actor, producer, crushing it. He's acting all over the world. He does one or two films in Europe
That's awesome.
every year. He's stand-in on Animal Kingdom. He lives right across the next apartment, right across the hallway from me. So we're collaborating now. So it's this little network from Central Florida or wherever you start is incredible.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. See, that's what I'm talking about. Networking, being nice to people, they remember that. And then the next time you walk into a set, you never know who's going to be on set. And then you can easily hit it off and then just down the line be like, hey, like the one that I was telling you about, the TV show that we're going to pitch to Netflix, Alex Bright, who's a Valencia grad. We met on the set of, was it? It was either a short film or the feature film that Ralph, and God bless his soul, Ralph was
Yeah, God bless Ralph.
on me. But we met on Ralph's set, and then we met at least 10 years ago. And now he brought me on to help produce his TV show, his sci-fi TV show that we're going to try to get funded by Netflix.
Well, and do you have access to somebody that has the door open to Netflix?
That's the person that I met in North Carolina.
Wow. See, that's another thing. We mostly talk on this show about how you raise the cash, but the other door, which is a very tricky door to get in, is how do you get directly in front of the streaming studios or the big networks. So there you have it. That's a door open to you.
That's a door. We're very much going to be very frugal about what we present because you only have first chance to make a first impression. You know what I'm saying? And so we're being frugal of what we bring to the table with them. And then we're going to showcase what we can do. And if they come on and bring the money to the table, then we're ready to rock and roll. Or you can go the other route that James Hunter has been doing, is finish the project and then get it distributed. And then from there, that's how you get into the doors that they've been getting to, because he has a distribution company also.
Yeah, wise words from V. So V, thank you so much for coming on today. What's the best way that people can follow you or contact you?
I would have to say the best way is through Instagram, because I check that all the time. And my Instagram is Dark Elf Films. So it's the absolute Dark Elf Films. And that's easy enough. Follow me through there. And also, if you can find me on Facebook, but the best way to contact me is through Instagram.
Excellent. Well, V, thanks for all your time coming on today. It was great to catch up after quite a few years. And wish you all the best. I'm definitely going to look out for Call Time next year when that comes out.
Thank you very much. All right, Scott. You have a great day.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.
Tune in next week, and for more info, visit financeyourmovie.com. Thank you for listening, and remember, if you have a story to tell the world, never give up on your dream. Copyright Nemours Marketing.